So this week I'm going to be, or what interested me the most within this chapter was the skin fold measurements. It's something that some of us might be familiar with labs and stuff. But it basically is a measurement of subcutaneous fat, which is directly below the skin and accounts for about 33% or one third of a individual's total body fat. It is a predictor for the percentage of body fat in each individual. Um, and there's ways to to assess this, which would be on 325 and on the YouTube links provided by our professor. So I'm not going to go too much into that because I feel like that's covered. But I did want to go over some issues that it could happen, which obvious is poor technique on the individual administering the test using this. Maybe they don't know how, maybe it's their first time. Sweaty skin or skin with lotion because it's not going to be as accurate of a read. And but I really wanted to focus on severe obesity or extremely lean client because in the book it really talks about having empathy for individuals who are seeking a better turnout with their fitness journey. So if one can infer that this might, when reaching the maximum, might not be enough for an individual, you wouldn't want to administer this test whatsoever because it's not inclusive in that sense. So we should be careful when doing that for whatever individual we might be working with. We have to do what fits them best, which is why there are a variety of methods used or talked about within the book. So we know that there are 9 areas to take a skin fold exam in. So now I'm going to move on to, I found 2 articles that I found really interesting, so I had to include both. And the first one is the valid and reliability of the skin fold measurement in assessing body fatness within Chinese children. And this is posted by Daniel Qixing, I believe. I might have botched that, but this has 230 individuals who are located in Hong Kong, both boys and girls. These are children. So they do compare it with the ADP, which is on page 330 where it talks about it. And it's a laboratory method, which differs from the skin fold because the skin fold is more accessible for most people who would be administering these exams and documenting for a client. But this is a laboratory method, so it's not less reliable. It's less obtainable for an individual. It's expensive. However, it is non-invasive. But a thing to note is that it does not require submersion in water, which is good because it allows it to be friendly on the spectrum of children, adults, disabilities. This is a great way. However, it is not very obtainable for everybody. So I wanted to find an article that compared a laboratory method to the skin fold method because it's easier for people to do. And these results, they use the suprailiac tricep and calf for the boys. Well, the first was for boys and then for girls. And then they used the ADP method to measure, and they found that there was almost no difference within the results that they got for percent body fat, which I found to be interesting because there are very different techniques, very different methods, and, prices that can vary. And then the next article I found is also interesting because it looks at, I guess, how friendly or inclusive, right? So it's called Feasibility and Reliability of Body Composition Measurements in Adults with Severe Intellectual and Sensory Disabilities. So intellectual meaning learning, reasoning, and problem solving may be a bit of a struggle for them, and sensory meaning that this affects how a person gathers information as far as they can have a disability with sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste. So it didn't go into specifics as to the 45 individuals who participated in this study and what it could have, how what disability they specifically had. It just gave intellectual and sensory disabilities. So they look at calculating a person's BMI, their waist circumference, and the skin fold exam. So again, I wanted to look at this because I find the skin fold to be most interesting. That's what I just really like it ever since we've done this in lab. So I wanted to see how good of a method this would be. So obviously it was proven accurate within the past article that I just spoke on or study. So now I wanted to look into the inclusive, is it inclusive for all populations or not, like the ADP would be. And what it basically found is that this is a reliable method for measurement of body percent fat. It is a great method. The BMI, the waist circumference, and the skin fold exam all demonstrated similar results. However, of the three, it found that the skin fold is the least reliable to use in the sense of it was very difficult to administer the skin fold exam on individuals with intellectual and sensory disabilities. They weren't able, whether the individual were to fight it, or it was just hard for them to get the results using this and the skin fold exam, like where they are folding the skin. So I thought that was an important thing to note, because something that you'll find throughout this book is it really specifies on how it is important to individualize our plans for people. So if the skin fold worked for this child, but it didn't work for this child, we have to accept that. Everybody is different and might require a different type of method to gain the same information. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, so I'll mention it right now, that the feasibility and reliability of body composition measurement in adults with severe intellectual and sensory disabilities was posted by Van Devere in 2009. And the other article was posted in 2010. So thank you.